a chance to catch up with what's been happening with the Pumpkins themselves. We've got Billy Corgan and Jimmy Chamberlin with us. The Smashing Pumpkins' actual tour mechanism now, is it like a well-drilled machine? As you go around the UK, you've just been doing this tour, does everything run perfectly to plan behind the scenes?
It's kind of like a wheezing old man. We get there, just we make a lot of noise first.
Have you found, though, that you've grown into being able to play bigger venues easier?
Yeah, because originally the band was, we were very much a club kind of band, and we didn't think we'd be playing much bigger things than clubs. So the whole mentality of the band was of a more physical approach than in some ways a musical approach. So that's kind of had to change, and we've had to kind of integrate more songs into the show and less dynamics and kind of give up a little bit of the rock power thing.
Have you found that the chemistry off stage as well is better? Because there was one point where you were described as a travelling soap opera.
We're still a soap opera, we're just better actors.
We're a more boring soap opera. Things are never that bad. It just kind of got blown out of proportion, and especially in the UK it became like a weird, they pick up on the story and then they beat you to death with it. Yeah, things are fine. I mean, we kind of reached this weird point where it was like we looked around and realized that the band was really important to us, and we set aside a lot of differences. There's no nights off in the band, and we expect that no other band member is going to take a night off. So it can create a volatile situation if you're not really all on the same page, and we've kind of worked all those things out. Everybody's committed to the band fully, and once we kind of got that straightened out, there really haven't been any problems.
Feels like it's loosened up a little on stage, not musically. The music, like the way you play, is very tight, but the kind of attitude of delivery.
The UK is a weird situation for us. We've always come over here under the auspice of being either the next big thing or the thing that the has-been thing. When our first record came out, nobody cared about us. Then our second record came out, and they were saying our first record was better than our second record. But however, we were the next Nirvana. Now we're on our third record, and it's like, everyone's in the thralls of Britpop. So every time we seem to come here, no one ever seems to really focus on us directly as a band. And for a lot of years, I think it made us really uncomfortable. This has really been the only place in the world that's treated us this particular way. Now that we're a little older, we just feel like, hey, whatever. We just played Wembley Arena last night. Tonight we're playing Brixton Academy. And we've sold a lot of records. We've enjoyed a lot of success. It's fun coming over here. And since we started focusing on that, we're fine. What you're talking about has always been there. It probably just didn't really show up in the UK because we always felt the pressure to play this show that, somebody would write, they were the greatest thing since blood sausage or something, Right, and you get that kind of, we always used to say that our London shows were never as good as our other shows because we would always get really uptight about playing London. Now we just don't care anymore, so we're more relaxed about it.
We know that, obviously yourself, Billy, you grew up with a lot of sort of 70s rock music and blues and things. But have there been any British bands that have influenced yourselves?
People always focus on the fact that we were candid about our 70s influences, but I've always said that the band was very influenced by The Cure and Bauhaus and Susie and the Banshees and Joy Division and New Order, obviously. So, but people never really focused on that.
And obviously, I go and see groups, and I see rock bands and singers in rock bands who also play guitar, gaffer taping plectrums to their mic stands. Usually they probably have about 3, 4 or something. I saw a picture of yourself the other day, and there were 13 plectrums gaffered to the mic stand. Did you drop a lot of these?
Actually, you'd have to see how quickly I go through a pick. I can go through a pick in about 2 songs. So.
Really?
Yeah, it's just I play so hard and I use heavy strings that the picks wear out really fast.
So basically,
just boring technical stuff.
We'll use that for Guitarist Monthly or something. How does it work on days off? Have you had any days off?
We've worked almost, for 6 years straight. I don't think we've taken more than about 4 or 6 weeks off, maybe once or twice in 6 years. So it's important to us that when the band, breathes its final breath, that we'll have left something that means something to us and not look back with regret and say, well, we could have done better. And we've gotten to where we've gotten by believing in what we believe in, and people always told us that what we believed in was wrong, but yet here we are. So I think that's how we can be a popular band still in the UK, in the light of, as I said last night on stage, we're not supposed to be popular. Magazines that were begging us for covers 2 or 3 years ago now won't even run features on us. that, in our minds, coming from where we come from, which is a very working class environment, in our minds the work translates to a certain kind of devotion. We have a devotion to the music and to the fans, and the fans return that devotion to us. So those things mean something to us, and it doesn't matter what the current trend is, that's where we stand.
So do you get much time to read? Because one of the things, as I was listening back to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness today, is something which I don't think a lot of people have picked up on, but one of the most evocative parts of your music is obviously your own vocabulary. Even
when I was little, kids would make fun of me for using big words. I have a very literate family, and it was kind of expected in my family that you use the correct words for the correct situation, so whatever, it just seems to have translated into my adult life.
A lot of bands, I guess, make some of their best records when there's a feeling that almost their backs are against the wall. Did you feel that was the situation when you were making the last LP?
That's a pretty valid statement. I think we work best under pressure too, and we kind of it's not an outside pressure, it's more of an internal pressure, and more of a an unsaid thing. I mean, after 8 or 9 years we've been together, we all have self expectations and expectations of each other. So when we say we're going to make a double record, everybody goes, holy shit.
Do you worry at any point though, that because you are so committed to the band, that there's almost a life out there which you're missing?
Oh, we're pretty certain we're missing that life, but and
you have no regret about that?
At times you do, but we really feel that God has given us a great opportunity and to do what we want to do. Very few people can really say that. Rock music is basically for the youth, and to play rock music, you yourself need to have a lot of youth, and there's a finite point by which you can continue to communicate with youth, and we're getting a little older, and we want to be able to basically get all that in. We've carved out a niche that's wholly our own, and we're very proud of that. We know what we're doing. We know we're out here to sell records, and we want everybody to have a good time. But at the same time, we believe that within the framework of selling records and being on the radio and making videos, you can express something that's wholly different and deeper, and we've managed to do that and still be successful. Then it's really a cake and eat it too situation for us.
I think it was Elvis Costello who once said that the reason that he made an LP of country-influenced music at one point was because he was sick and tired of hearing bands that sounded like his old records forming and copying him, and he was getting so bored with that and bands sounding like himself that he actually wanted to do something different. Do you think that's going to take a part in how you look at what Smashing Pumpkins do next?
It already has. What we were doing 4 years ago is not really as effective as it was. The loud, soft bit has kind of worn out. And, we have bands in the United States that are basically copying, the Pumpkin, Pearl Jam, Nirvana formula, and basically having hits, but it's made it so generic that kids really can't differentiate between one band and the other. And, we just want to separate ourselves, We don't really need to be in the pack.
Because I imagine you're a big fan of Bush, aren't you? Bands like that.
I'm declining comment on all bands these days. I'm trying to be a Buddhist about the whole thing.
A rumour reaches me that there's an episode of The Simpsons with you in.
Basically, the concept is it's Lollapalooza, Homerpalooza or something. It's us and Sonic Youth, and we're not really keen on advertising or media blasts like that. But I mean, The Simpsons is such a funny show, and it kind of transcends genre and age. I mean, everybody can relate to it, so we thought it'd be fun to do.
It's like Darcy would be on Absolutely Fabulous. That would be her dream show. So in a way, for us, The Simpsons was like one of the few things we ever would have done.
The caricature is very good.
I haven't seen it yet.
And you look frightened, Billy.
All I asked him was, can I please have hair, because I don't want anyone to mistake me for Homer.
Because also you've actually designed the tickets for one of the London shows.
James did the artwork for that, yeah. He's actually a really good artist.
It is kind of funny that he does look the best on the ticket. We did note that.
Brilliant. What happens next with Smashing Pumpkins? Where'd you go?
Tomorrow we fly to Australia, and then we start our American tour on the 23rd of June, but I think we're going to pre-production before that, right? Oh, and not only that, but we have to record a bunch more B-sides.
And then we tour from July through December.
And then we'll fall over and die, probably at the last show, and
And that's that we figure once we finally finish this year with it, because we have like something like 100 shows in America, and once we finish these shows, then we'll just die. That'll be the end.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
Thank you and good night from the Smashing Pumpkins. But you'll feel good about it, though.
We'll have rocked them all.
Billy and Jimmy, thanks very much for talking to us.